Merry Christmas, my dear friends. May the Christmas season bring only happiness and joy to you and your family. Wishing you peace, love, lots of gifts, and no drama. Love, Drama King. So, there's a long history here that I will sum up briefly. I have an older brother. We're 5 years apart in age. We were never close. Growing up, I always felt like I was an outsider in my family. I never felt close to my dad, never felt close to my brother, and while my mom showed me love and affection, she also stayed with a man who was cold to me, a man I believed was my father. The truth came out during my brother's wedding. During his toast, he decides to publicly tell me and everyone else that our mom ducked another man and had me, and that it disgusted him to see me at his wedding, to play pretend in front of people when all he and his dad wanted was to erase me from their lives forever. I don't really know what happened the rest of the wedding. I know his wife chose to stay and her family are estranged from them because of what he did. I know a lot of stuff made sense to me, and I know my mom and I had a hard time keeping a relationship. I felt so betrayed by her and the fact that she not only lied to me my whole life, but allowed me to be treated that way for something out of my control was almost impossible. We're in a better place now, but only just. She and her husband divorced. He hasn't spoken to me since the wedding. Anyway, my wedding is coming up, and my brother has apologized, though I don't think it was genuine. I think it was forced by my mom. My extended family thinks that apology warrants an invite. They say it would look terrible to exclude my brother when everyone knows I was invited to his, and not everyone knows what went down during his. But I have to say, I don't feel like he should be invited. Extended family think I'm wrong since he apologized, and it would be an a-hole move to not invite my brother. The only reason I doubt is because he did apologize, and I don't know for sure if he did it of his own volition or not, because even though I said it was okay, I didn't really forgive. Would I be the a-hole if I don't invite him? Not the a-hole. I would under no circumstances invite him to my wedding. If he ruined his own wedding to hurt you, imagine what he might do at yours. Not the a-hole, but even if you were, sometimes that's just necessary. He humiliated you at his own wedding, and his wife's own family wants nothing to do with him because of it. I don't know why your family is trying to stand up for him, but you should consider not inviting anyone who thinks you're the a-hole for not inviting him. Not the a-hole. He used his wedding toast to expose a secret that hurt you and tried to humiliate you. He said all him and his dad wanted was to erase you from their lives. I don't care if he apologized. No ducking apology excuses what the hell he did. Tell your extended family to duck off. You don't have to invite him to your wedding. You don't have to forgive him. You don't have to play happy family for nobody. Your brother is a huge a-hole. His dad is a huge a-hole. And your mom is an a-hole too. She cheated, and you paid the price. I should start this off with, I have never met her stepkids. I was not invited to her wedding, and we have never been close. Her and I, we share a dad. He was a widower when he met my mom. My half-sister did not take kindly to my mom marrying dad, and I think she has always seen it as they betrayed her in some way. She always saw me as less than a sister. She's 10 years older, so there's some of that going on as well, but in general, she just doesn't care about being family, and told me numerous times we're not real siblings because we only have one parent in common. She also told me she hates my mom, and that also makes me less her sibling, because she wouldn't want some random woman's kid being passed off as her family. So she's married now, to a guy with kids. Shocked the hell out of me to learn this given her feelings. And she called me up to talk for the first time in over 18 months to say she was going to my parents for Christmas and wanted to tell me to get her stepkids gifts. I had no plans to go to my parents for Christmas, and so I told her I got no gifts for the kids and would not get them. She starts freaking out on the phone, told me I'm useless to her more than she ever realized, how I should be putting the kids before all else, blah blah blah. I told her she cannot expect me to buy for kids I never met, who I won't be seeing for Christmas. I ended up hanging up on her because she was ready to keep going indefinitely, and I have no time for that. We're not sisters, per her own decision, and so I don't need to care if she's married with kids or stepkids. My mom called me and told me they heard what happened, that my half-sister is still seething, and she asked me if I'd even get them some small gifts to make things easier. She said my half-sister is having a hard time getting close to her stepkids, and we could maybe help by showing them they're wanted and included in our family. I told her it has been made clear to me that I am no part of her family. Mom said she knows, but we could always hope that those relationships will improve, that she still loves her despite always being treated like she was an affair partner, rather than the woman who met a widower and married him. My sister even sent me a DM to rant at me and told me I am being an a-hole to the kids. Am I the a-hole here? Edited to add, just for clarity. By saying my half-sister treats my mom like she's the affair partner, etc. I don't think my half-sister needs to treat her like a parent, or even like the closest of family members. But even some respect and civility isn't too much to ask for after 24 years, I would think. Not the a-hole. You're not obligated to buy gifts for anyone, let alone children you've never met. Your sister is now reaping the consequences of her poor behavior and treatment towards you. It's a delicious irony that she treated your mother so badly and is now having the same issue. Your sister is rotten. Not the a-hole. Your half-sister calls you after a year and a half of no contact just to tell you to buy gifts for her stepkids. The audacity is astonishing. You don't owe them or her anything. If you want peace for the holidays, block her on social media, phone, and email. While I feel bad for the kids having your father's other child as their stepmother, I wouldn't buy gifts for them either. She's made it perfectly clear that you're not her family, and to ask you to fake being her family to get those kids to like her is lying to the kids. If you feel compelled at all to get the kids something, get them something, a board game-ish type thing, that the stepmother hates to play. But I'm petty like that, not the a-hole. Last year, once restrictions lifted, H, 35 male, friend from college, planned to redo his postponed wedding from virus. He had credits from vendors because they wouldn't give him money back to use later when they open again. He set it for February 25th, and because he was able to wait and had the credits, he put more money into it. Before he called me, 35 male, a year ago, we hadn't seen each other in a few years. We spent the year before the wedding getting things ready and building items. I woodwork as a side job, so we didn't hire out to make things. We built a wedding arch. His wife, E, 32 female, and my fiancée, N, 23 female, wove wisteria through it for their South Carolina wedding in Francis Marion National. We have a mutual friend, G. G hasn't told anyone he was ordained, but in December, we talked about the wedding and how I was worried about my wedding because my fiancé and I aren't well financially like H. G and I were drinking. It came out that he was ordained. I then thought of a double wedding with H. I had built half of the main pieces for his wedding and did it for free. Why not use this as payment? I told G, and he wasn't sure about it, but I insisted that H would be fine with it and be excited for it. His wife and my fiancé started to be friends during this past year as they planned to give H and I orders for building. On the day I gifted my fiancé with a white sheer scarf. She was a little confused, but accepted it. I loaded up and took all to the park. H and I set up, got ready in the tents he rented for the wedding parties and the reception after. Everything went smooth, and after H and D said their vows and went away, I got everything moving to the reception tent, waiting for the bride and groom. I got G and N. We stood in the altar with another friend and their +1 for witnesses. We quickly said our vows, and I had the photographer come over for a few quick pictures of us and gave her $200 to do our pictures separately. My new wife was glowing and so happy. I told her to not say anything to H or E because I didn't want her to take away their spotlight, and she agreed. The others seemed settled by this too, so I thought it was fine. Went into the tent and sat in time for H and E to come. Toasts were made, songs were sung. Everyone went to a hotel in Charleston we booked. I packed everything while my wife went with one of the bridesmaids. I stayed and got every item in trash. I got to the hotel and upgraded our room and had a wonderful night. A few weeks go by. I'm called by H. He is livid. The photographer had dropped both our packs to his home. E opened ours first. He was appalled that we used his photographer and venue to have a wedding. I tried to tell him that I paid separately. I tried to not affect his own wedding. He told me he destroyed the photos and had destroyed our friendship. He blocked me and is no contact for a while. Wife overheard the conversation and was upset I didn't tell H what I planned and was upset that our pics ruined. So, am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole. This was sneaky, cruel to your wife, cruel to the bride and groom, and unfair all around. When you can't afford a wedding, you have one in a lovely free setting, not behind your friends' backs. You're the a-hole. You didn't have a discussion with him or his bride about this. You didn't borrow anything. You took their special occasion from them. I bet if your new wife also knew that they hadn't agreed to anything, she'd be upset. You're the a-hole. You stole their guests from them, and you stole their photographer from them. Frankly, I'm surprised the photographer even agreed to leave the main wedding unless you lied and said it was okay. They should have been doing their job capturing candids of the guests or bride and groom. They probably thought the $200 was a tip. You didn't ask because you knew they would say no. You gave him the gift of your labor, then took it back. You didn't trade your labor as payment for a double wedding. There was no double wedding. He never agreed to that. If you wanted to get paid, you decided that before the labor. My best friend, male 28, of 12 years, recently got married. I, male 27, was the best man. Jump to the wedding day. The maid of honor came to the grooms, us, and informed us of a lady, we'll call her Kathy, who had chosen to wear a white dress to the wedding and sit in the second row on the aisle. Maid of honor was freaking out, trying to ask what we should do. Ask her to change? Ask her to leave? and I had remembered reading about other people who would accidentally spill red wine on people who chose to wear a white dress to someone else's wedding. I suggest the idea. Maid of honor loved it and went to go inform the bride that I would be doing this during the reception. Groom, best friend, hated the idea. He said, "Look, man, I know it's an awful thing to do, wear white, but let's not make a scene, give Kathy more attention than she deserves." The ceremony happened, and bride was obviously upset when she walked down. Maid of honor had informed her of the situation, so it wasn't a nasty surprise to bride, but it was still tense. This venue was one where the reception was the same room as the ceremony, so there was not an easy transition period where someone could ask Kathy to go change. However, this meant that my idea was getting closer and seeming more plausible. I already knew Maid of honor approved, and so I assumed that the bride also approved. After 10 minutes or so of formalities, toast, everything, I began to walk towards Kathy. It was actually incredibly easy, since right as I was walking past, not even ready to do it, just kind of mapping my plan, she backed her chair up right before I took a step in that direction. I took this opportunity to spill my entire glass towards my left, where she was sitting, down the back of her dress, the chair. Then, in order to make it less about her, I dove forward and landed on my side and yelled, "Oh my God, why would you do that?" The conversations went quiet. Kathy stands up with her back soaked, looked at me, and mouths, "F you," before quietly dismissing herself into the bathroom. Bride and groom both come up to me after a few minutes had passed and told me that was totally not cool. Neither of them wanted me to do that, and it was as if I was trying to be the hero at someone else's event. Bride said it was a jerk move, and that she was bothered by her wearing the white dress, but not like that bothered. Groom told me that he was disappointed, and why would I do something that he literally told me not to do? I apologized to him, and he said we were all good, but like please don't ever disrespect us or someone we know like that again. Kathy wasn't seen afterwards, or if she was, I didn't see it, hear about it. Maid of honor told me that what I did was payback, and well-deserved, and I had a few of the bride's family members ask me, "Was that actually on accident?" That was so perfect, afterwards as well. I'm torn. Am I the a-hole here? Do I need to bring this up later with my friend and apologize again? Was I just being funny best man, and should I shrug it off? You're the a-hole. If the bride and groom both said yeah, you would not have been the a-hole, but the groom said no, and you didn't even bother asking the bride. I'm sorry, was it your wedding day? The groom literally told you not to, and you just went ahead anyway. Of course you're the a-hole, and a crappy best friend. You and maid of honor need to grow up. You're the a-hole. Everything that the bride and groom told you is true. You were trying to be the hero at someone else's event, and you were explicitly told not to do it. Just because the maid of honor is an a-hole doesn't give you free license to be one yourself. As for Kathy, she may have committed a grave faux pas, but she didn't deserve to have a dress ruined and be humiliated in public like that. I really hope that you at least offer to replace her dress, or reimburse her to mitigate your a-holeness. I'm going through a bad breakup, nearly 8 years. We're not married. We have no joint debt. The home is mine and mine alone. She has contributed to things such as various home repairs, appliances, etc., and she purchased groceries for all in the home. 2 children of mine, 1 of hers. We do not have children together. In total, her spending on the home has been around $11,000, not counting groceries. My spending has been $80,000 on the mortgage alone since she moved in, plus an additional $25,190 in utilities, internet, etc. She wants to stay for a period, but keep me out of my own bedroom, and is willing to split bills with me while she stays. I think it's somewhat reasonable, but honestly, it hurts my heart too much to have her stay in my home and have to be around her with her being distant and cold. I want her out because I can't bear living like that. I don't want to support her while she takes advantage of the situation as a springboard to another man. She says she's technically a renter, and I'd have to hire a lawyer to draw up papers to remove her. I thought I could just order her out and call the police if she refused. Further, she purchased appliances and the bed on credit. Total amount $6,000 to $8,000, and wants to hang that over my head as a joint liability and another reason I can't remove her from the property. In my opinion, I've provided her shelter and living accommodations above and beyond her contributions. However, I know that legally none of that may matter. How should I proceed? We live in Ohio. With any luck, I'd love to avoid all this and earn her love back, but I'm certain it's over. She is a tenant and you will have to evict her. You can give her notice immediately. The Boiler, Ohio, termination of rental agreement is easy to find with the web search. Print out 3 copies, fill them out, and hand deliver one of them. You should also mail one via certified mail. Return receipt requested. Then find a landlord attorney. A simple eviction action is not difficult, but it must be done strictly according to your local court's procedures. Ohio is not especially tenant-friendly, but you still don't want to screw it up. Consider the attorney's fees an investment in peace of mind.